I'm here in the good light, and I have this Bosu resistance band that I just got from Big Lots for like $5. I got two, one for me and one for my friend, because I love a big resistance band. I really like to use them to just help create awareness within my body of muscles that I find it hard to connect my brain to. We'll talk more about that as we go along in the practice. But I also think it's a wonderful bridge. The friend who I got this for has kind of recently been bit by the exercise bug, doing like calisthenics and cardio. And I think that they would be a very good candidate to move forward into strength training. They're very strong in their muscles, but we kind of need a bridge to help our joints get on board as we get into strength training, because it can be frustrating. We're like, I know I'm really strong, but I can't seem to keep up with the weight that I want to. A lot of time it's because our joints, our connective tissues have not gotten the call that they are being invited to this practice. So conditioning, resistance band work, and that kind of thing are wonderful ways to just wake up the joints, wake up the muscles, and help us get ready to perhaps take on more load. It's great maintenance, great awareness, great proprioception, having an awareness of where you are in time and space. So let's get to it. All I have is this band and my mat. I do have some light weights that I will use, but you don't have to. We're gonna do 3 rounds of, I think, 5 or 6 exercises. And I also have a tree stump right here. For 2 of the exercises, we're gonna need something to loop the band around. So I have this tree stump. You might use like the heavy leg of a chair, or you might need to loop it around a bar or something like that. It's getting pretty warm and buggy, so I have my base layer and my hat on. We're gonna get started on the ground in a lying down reconstructive rest pose with the feet on the outer edges of your mat or your space and your knees folding in towards one another. Lie on your back. Your hands can be down by your sides or on your belly or on your chest. We'll take about 10 breaths here just to ground and center and find some stillness and relaxation before we start to move the body. Maybe becoming slightly more intentional or aware of the inhales and exhales. Great. Unfold your legs and let them fall from one side to another. Doing some windshield wipers. Flossing gently through the hips. Giving your low back a little massage. Eventually we'll roll over onto one side and use your hands to press yourself up. We'll come to find our cat-cows. And so before I was saying this is really helpful to me in finding areas of the body that I have a hard time connecting my brain to. One of those areas is the mid-back, also known as the thoracic spine. If you ever talk to a chiropractor, a spine specialist, they'll talk about CT, cervical spine, thoracic spine, lumbar spine. So your mid-back here is your thoracic spine, and the muscles that connect the rib cage to the pelvis are very subtle and very hard to activate. So I know, like, if I want to feel my bicep, I could do a bicep curl and I'll feel it and I can touch it and understand it. Same thing with the glute. I can, do my little glute pulses. The traps, the subscap, the muscles of the back body are really hard for me to become aware of. They're, because maybe you can't see them, we're not as aware of them. In any case, the thoracic spine is one of my favorite areas to use a resistance band to create awareness around. So I have the band around my mid-back, around the lower tips of my shoulder blades. And I have my hands, palms around the inside of the band. And I'm going to place my palms down in a neutral tabletop position, planted on the band. And if there's too much slack here, for me, I am finding that there is, you can just pull up on your grip to tighten the resistance. So here in my neutral tabletop, I'm gonna find some cat-cows by inhaling, letting my belly soften and my gaze rise. I feel my mid-back soften as well. Squeeze through the glutes and press down through the toes to make a nice space for your low back to be. And then beginning with the mid-back, we're gonna start to push into the resistance band. So it begins with the mid-back and then let your pelvis and your chin follow. Halloween cat. Inhale, bends the elbows, lifts the gaze and softens the belly. Keep squeezing through the glutes and the thighs. And exhale, push, protract, press through the ground. And so as you push into your Halloween cat, see if you can feel the muscles of the back body that hold the rib cage in place. Last round of cat-cows. Push. Round and protract and squeeze. And inhale to bend. Extend, lift the gaze and the tailbone. Nice. We're going to take this movement into a downward facing dog. So I'm going to release the slack that I created before because I'll need it now. I'm going to walk my hands up a few inches and my feet back a few inches. Lift the knees, lift the hips, and stretch back to a downward facing dog. I'm not going to be able to get as long in my downward facing dog. It's a little bit crouchy, and that's okay because what I'm meaning to do is still access awareness to this mid-back area. A few breaths here in downward dog. Lifting the hips and pressing the thighs back, feeling the thighs hug onto the femur bones as the heels gently descend down towards the ground. Keeping tone through the backs of the arms, the forearms, and pressing through the finger pads. We'll inhale, come forward to a plank and play with pushing into that resistance band into your plank. Length from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And exhale, lowers us down to the knees. Maybe take a short child's pose. Inhale brings us back through tabletop. Tuck your toes, lift the hips, and walk your feet up towards your hands as best you can. Perhaps hang for a moment here in a standing forward fold position. If your hamstrings are really tight, you can bend your knees. And then we'll roll all the way up to stand. Yay. Walk through your band and we'll do some pull aparts. And before we do our pull aparts, let's just take this moment to stretch and enjoy that. So with the palms facing each other, we're gonna flip our grip and bring the palms out and away. Firm through the feet, get strong and stable through the legs and the core as we inhale and lift the band up overhead. Exhale, keep a bend through the elbows as you bring the band back behind you, and notice any sticky bits where you might get stuck. This can be a flossing somatic movement where you're lifting up, and exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Or you can make it, you can bend the elbows and stay tense through the arms and pause at places where you feel stuck and breathe ease into the stickiness. Or you can just be still and enjoy the stretch through the chest. Use the band to do some stretching. It's very popular. You'll see people doing circles, which feels great. A lot of good shoulder rotation there. Okay. Bring the band to its width and we'll just floss from right to left. Do 6 more times. Two. Last one. All right. Let's get jazzy with it and do some real pull aparts. Find just one strip of the band and create slack with the rest and bring it to about shoulder width or wider distance apart. The wider your shoulders are, the wider you might want the band to be. We're just gonna pull apart for 10, 9, 8, nice and slow, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. You can feel it's gonna rain. We need it. We'll do our overhead pull aparts. I want you to remember to brace through the core, ground down through the feet to support these actions. Bring the band up overhead. Straighten your arms to your comfort level. Mine will not straighten. My shoulders are too janky. We'll go for 10 overhead. Six, 5, 3, 2, last one. Nice. Gently bring the band back behind you. Make sure that flip grip is happening. Once again, palms facing up. And we'll do 10 pull aparts back behind. Do not have as much strength here. 8 more. Halfway for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Word. That's our upper body warm up. Let's move on to our sets. So again, we're going to do RDLs that will activate the posterior chain, the hamstrings, and wake up the hamstrings. And then we'll go into bent over rows. So, standing on the bond. We're gonna get crouchy. Bend the knees and send the butt back. Bend down and find your comfort level. How much grip you want to be able to lift up. So this is a hip hinge. And then inhale to straighten up. So that's our form. We'll do 10. I'm standing up straight and tall. Proud chest, tone through the core. I'm going to brace the legs and start to send the hips back. I'm feeling the outer edges of my feet, the inner edges of my feet. And just when I know I can't sink down anymore without rounding my low back and my hamstrings feel fired up, I'm going to inhale and lift. A lot of times when you see people deadlifting, you see this like massive scoop of the pelvis as you stand up. You definitely don't want to splay the low back like that, but you don't really need to overtuck the pelvis as you come up to the top of the rep. Let's do 10. We got to bust this out before it starts raining. 10, 9, 8, 1/2. 4, 3, 2, last one. Cool, we're gonna move to our bent over rows. So in that same RDL bent over position with the hips hinging back and the chest shifting forward and the sternum lifted, shoulders broadened, we're gonna find 10 bent over rows. Find the slack that's comfortable for you. We'll pull the elbows in towards the rib cage for 10. 7. 1/2. 4, 3, 2, last one. Wonderful. Our next set, the really fun one. We'll start with kickbacks. Loop the band around the thing that you're looping the band around, and we'll start with the right leg so you can see me really well. I'm gonna find like a half split squat kind of position where my hips can hinge forward, my feet don't have to be even. I'm gonna tone everything into the core, lift up through the crown of the head, place my hands at my center, and kick back for 10. You can ground the big toe mound each time if you want, or you can choose to stay balanced. We're halfway at 5. 3, 2, and last one, please. From here, we're gonna go right into our split squats. I'm just going to shift my weight so that I'm facing this way. I'm gonna walk my left leg back, center the hips, and I'm gonna touch my knee down for 10. 8, 6, 1. Lean forward to release the foot from the band, and we'll switch sides. Finding the loop around the left, not the heel, but not the calf, right where the bottom of the calf muscle begins to meet the ankle. So we'll find our good uneven stance. Lengthen through the core, through the crown of the head. Find your balance, your center point. 10, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to turn towards y'all. Left foot driving into the band, helping us keep our foot and our ankle in place. A lot of times in split squats, it's very hard to not wobble, right? Like I'm doing right now. So find your balance. Draw the hips towards the front. Get a squatty little, almost like a 90-90 lunge. Find your center, and we'll go down for 10. Three, 2, last one. All right. Got to kick all the sand off my little feet. Our next set of RDLs and bent over rows coming up. Step on the band at your comfort level. So one of the reasons I wanted to make this video is because as I was searching around looking for examples that I could show my friend, every video I saw said that this will help you build your glutes, and it will help you build your glutes, but it's not going to build your glutes. For me, when I first started working out, I had no strength in my hamstrings. And I just had to create awareness around where they were, how to activate them. We're gonna lift up for 10. And everyone said, do RDLs. And all I felt it was in my knees. So I cozied up to the hamstring curl machine. We're at 6. We're halfway. And I could barely curl 10 or 15 pounds. And that's frustrating because the leg press is my strongest lift. We have 3 more. So a practice like this was really helpful for me distinguishing between my glutes and my hamstrings, waking up the joints that I would need to take the weight out of my knees in the places where I was feeling it and into my hamstrings. Let's find our bent over rows. Get balanced over your band. Puff the chest out proud. And we'll row in for 10, 9, 3, last one. Great. Shift the band to the thing that you're looping it around. We'll go for kickbacks. Uneven stance, untrained tracks, center the hips, pull into the core, kick back for 10. Last one. Shift around and find my split squat. Going down. Ooh. This will build your glutes. Adding weights. Go down for 10. I have 10 pounds in each hand. 3, 2, last one. Oi, don't care for those. Everybody knows that. Switch sides. If you want, you can also hold a weight here at your chest at this point. Kick back for 10. One. Nice. Find your split squat stance. Center the hips. Center the shoulders over the hips. Lift the gaze. We're going down. I have to get the weights. Going down for 10. Halfway with 5. 3, 2, 1. Yay. Let's get into our last set of hamstring work with our RDLs. Stand on your band at your comfort level. Get crouchy and find the amount of slack that you want. Pull everything into the midline. Puff up that chest for 10. Four. 3 more. Dos. Last one. Stay where you're at. We'll row for 10. 9. 8. 6. 5. We have 3 more of our last set of these. Woo, let's do one more set of our glute and leg work, and then we'll cool down. I'm gonna grab a 10 here, just for fun. Find my train tracks, lean slightly forward, and exhale, kick back for 10. Four, 3, 2, 1. Cool. I'm going to keep my weight right where it is. Find my split squat stance and go down for my last 10. Three, 2, 1. Are you with me? Those are so hard. Whatever the world is divided upon today, we'll always agree that split squats are the worst. If you want to get better at them, do yoga. I think the only reason that I had a natural ability towards them when I started working out is because of how many countless hours I spent in lunge positions doing yoga. We'll kick back on the left side for 10. 5. Recenter. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Cool. Last set of split squats. We did it. Going down for 10. 5. We're halfway. 3, 2. Squeeze that glute at the top. And last one. Oh. Release your foot away from the band. Let's have a wind down. I'm gonna shake out my mat. Take a break, have a drink of water. What I'm getting set up to do now is just what we did coming in, some cat-cows and a nice grounding, cleansing downward dog to end. I like to place the band around my mid-back, thoracic spine, loop it around, palms, boop. It's awkward. Shift forward. Yo, I have to sneeze. Okay. My hands are a little further forward than they would normally be in cat-cow to accommodate the band, with the top of it tracing against the back of my arm, my tricep. And I'm fine with that. And just find some natural ways to undulate and move and work with the band here. Maybe from side to side. Let's play with lowering the band to the lumbar spine now, aka the low back. Let's give the low back some love. Place the band around your hips at your low back. And just as we've been doing, place the hands in front. And then notice how it feels. Inhale, tilt to the pelvis forward. And then exhale, we'll still start with the thoracic spine, pressing through the mid-back. But then as the tailbone follows, see how it feels to fill in that space using the breath in the low back and press against the resistance band. Tuck the chin in towards the chest. And exhale, release and tilt. You won't be able to get too much of a tilt because otherwise the band will release. But that's okay because what we're working with here is like slow, conscious movement and bringing awareness into different parts of the body. Which sometimes means less range of motion or less flexibility. Bring the bond to your mid-back. This time I'm going to loop it through to see if I get a little more stability if rather than having it around my tricep, if I loop it through my armpit here and do it that way, maybe it will stay there a little better. Let's play. Place the hands down in front. Walk the feet slightly away. Shift up into a high plank and send the hips back down dog. Oh, that feels good. It's different. And the band is still sliding, but it's doing what I want it to do. Tense through the triceps, the backs of the arms, and feel the shoulder blades on the back of the body. Feel a nice stretch through the backs of the legs. And inhale, we'll bring it forward. Place the knees down. Maybe take a child's pose. Then we'll come to seated. We'll find a forward fold to close. It's known as Paschimottanasana in yoga, and that means seated forward fold. So place the loop around the wide part of the feet, and then think about pressing the feet out and away. If you tend to, if your posture tends to be internal rotation, like your feet and your knees knock in towards one another, this would be a great thing to practice. Hi, birdies. You got something for your nest? I like it. I bet your nest is great. All right. Feet pressing into the outer edges of the band. My arms are straight, but I'm going to play with bending the elbows and pulling my heart forward. Trying not to let the elbows splay out, but keep pulling them in towards, like in our bent over rows, pulling them in towards the rib cage and letting the heart sink forward. When we were in our cat-cows and we were pressing our mid-back and our low back into the band, think about that. We're not, we want to resist the urge to like let the front body just flop down and the low back round. We still want to keep the integrity of the whole spine and keep that action that we've been creating, breathing into the different parts of the back body as we let the front body bow forward. Please keep a bend in your knees. If this is extremely intense, just keep a bend in your knees. Yep. And I say that because if you're really tight and you're not used to this type of work and you want to bend your knees because of the tightness, well, that's great. And if you're super hypermobile and it's very easy for you to just straighten out your legs and get really flexible with this, well, wonderful, but we're actually trying to strengthen the joints. So bending, keeping the knees bent and keeping the joints bent and creating that tension around them is going to be more beneficial than stretching and going to the fullest extent of the stretch that you could possibly go to. Word. Inhale to release away from the stretch. And we will end just as we began. Bring your feet to the wider edges of your mat. Your hands back behind you. Windshield wiper back and forth a few times. Keep your feet on the outer edges of the mat. Let your knees fold in towards one another. Let your hands come down to your sides or on your belly and your chest, whatever you prefer. And we'll end as we began with about 10 grounding breaths. Let your eyelids be soft. Let your head be heavy. Let your jaw be soft. Notice the quality of your breathing and your posture after some movement. Say thank you to your body for taking you through another practice, another beautiful day. I thank you for joining me for this practice. If you have any feedback or questions, let me know. You may stay here for as long as you like, and do join me again the next time we find ourselves back here in this good light.